The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation. Foundation.
The Foundation of Heart Grant is brought to you by Alive, Burger King, the Cleveland Clinic, Commonwealth Bank, Click, Popeyes, Prince Masters, and Ron's Electric Motors.
The Foundation. The Foundation. Foundation. The Foundation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, The Foundation, live and in full effect on this beautiful, absolutely gorgeous Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. I hope you guys are out there doing good in the land of the living. I know there are some people who make their exits, and I know that you're one of those. You may be one of those persons that are dealing with that. I know that we've seen in the papers most recently the young Kalma girl, and I say the young Kalma lady because Ishanika, I don't want to mess up the woman name, and I'm looking at her face and I say that she looks awfully familiar. I don't know whether or not she's a barista or whatever the case may be, but she looks awfully familiar, and such a gorgeous face, a beautiful young lady. She's passed away. So I continue to be able to pray for you guys and pray for the families of those persons who've been kind of snuffed out a little early, right? Unexpectedly, rather. So let's talk about that. And if you're celebrating a birthday, I want to be able to say to you right off the top, happy birthday. I just pray that the Father continues to be able to watch over you and pour into you and really takes good care of you as you continue to move in the direction that you're called to move. And it is July. So we're going to be celebrating in the next 9 days our celebration, independence celebration. Over the next 3 days, you're going to be seeing that out of the United States of America. So this is sort of a celebratory time. All the kids are off from school. You're looking for something to do. And, you're looking for being able to get yourself in those kind of an area, right? But Kalik wants to be able to remind you, pop the top with Kalik from Kalik. It's back. It says it's bigger than ever. Kalik, the bear of the Bahamas, is giving away $200,000 in cash and prizes. Purchase your favorite Kalik bear and look up under the cap. You can be a winner. Free Kalik bear, Kalik merch, or cold hard cash could be yours just for drinking a Kalik. Kalik reminds you to drink responsibly, buddy. So they want you guys to be able to know that they are back with this $200,000 in cash and prizes. You could be able to enjoy that. But don't neglect, as you continue to be able to enjoy your, in Spanish, I'd say cerveza. While you enjoy your cerveza and your refreshing beverage, keep yourself hydrated. These temperatures continue to be able to fluctuate up and down. And if you're one of those persons who can do well with yeast, and you find yourself in this kind of position, maybe you need to get sort of a clean out. We talked about this. We talked this kind of an idea of kind of rinsing yourself out and getting rid of those toxins and parasites. I've been reading up a lot on those parasites and really being able to look at those particular things, the tapeworms, the length of the tapeworms, and how you have parasites in your brain that leads to these particular things, how it could cause brain fog, all these stuff like that. If you find yourself kind of dazed and confused, it might be a result of parasites, all these things. We keep talking about these things. We keep talking about it, and I think for the most part, we as a people find ourselves in this sort of position where we allow these symptoms that start very small, minute, manageable, to be able to blossom and mushroom into a space where we just can't deal with it anymore. We got to be able to kind of cut this thing out. Yeah, but before you find yourself in that position, you want to go and take care of your colon. We talked about this. So go down there and check out my girl. She take very good care of you over at Coco Plum Wellness Bahamas. They can take care of you, man. Just check them out. 445-8111, 445-8111. And they'll be able to assist you in those areas, right? So let's just be able to do that, right? Pick up your Guardian newspaper, all the information is in there. Major firearms, ammo, drug bust. This is crazy. Reading this stuff, says one suspect arrested, police and customs officers seized 25 illegal firearms, 5,216 rounds of ammunition, and 49.6 pounds of marijuana concealed in appliances in a vehicle in Western New Providence on Friday evening. This is what the Commissioner of Police, Shanta Knowles, announced on Monday. Knowles said that the officers were acting on a tip from a credible source when they stopped and searched the vehicle, which was carrying household appliances. Upon closer inspection, they made the discovery. Wow, this is crazy. As I look at these particular things, I think, criminals get more crafty as time progresses. Isn't that? It's an amazing thing. They get more crafty. And, I often say you can't be a dumb criminal. I mean, not to be successful. Can't be dumb. Because you have to know the laws, rules, regulations. You have to know everything to know how to circumnavigate that. So they are very crafty in these particular areas. And I want to be able to commend the Royal Bahamas Police Force and that credible source for being able to identify those things and, pull those things to the forefront so we can eradicate that out of our society. It's very important. If you look at the paper, you can see the guns and ammunitions that were seized during last week's operation. Everything spread out on the table right there. All right, the Republic of Korea celebrates 40 years of diplomatic relations here in the country. One of the ambassadors, the Republic, is right here dancing, and as he joins the One Family Dancer, being able to do those things. It's amazing as you look at the paper and you kind of tear it open and you look at the core of it and you see the second page, Chinese Embassy makes donation to Disabilities Commission. This, we got to ask questions. There cannot be a relentless objective in being able to say what we can't do. But there must be participation in helping us to get to the place where we desire, where we imagine ourselves, and where we long for, we yearn for. And, I think everyone, from an external standpoint, has their motives, has their modus operandi, their desires, whether subtle or pronounced, to be able to utilize the relationship and the diplomatic relationship with the Bahamas to whatever their advantages that they seek. But there needs to be reciprocity there. There needs to be duality in this kind of a space. There needs to be an opportunity for us to be able to recognize that we too are being able to find ourselves blossoming and prospering as a result of allowing you into our gates. I just want to be able to say that because we often hear, and most recently we would have been able to see Marco Rubio take a very strong position. Our kids are doing everything now, unlocking their social media, doing everything just to be able to comply. They ain't completing. They're complying just to find themselves in proper position to get back to school in the United States of America, to be able to get their visas, to get all these particular things, and hoping that they can walk this kind of a tightrope, this fine line that America is now shaping. And there is no duality in this kind of a space. The Make America Great Again campaign is self-centered. It perpetuates the desires of what America seeks and being able to reign supreme relentlessly over all of us. We're not going to fight them, but there needs to be reciprocity here. This is not me saying, do as the Koreans, do as the Chinese, do as the Japanese, do as whoever. This is me saying every relationship should find itself in the position where both individuals, both entities are growing. That's all this is. That's all this is. And for the most part, we've been giving access to the United States of America to spend our money. And they have been so kind as to not say to, for the most part, not say to their citizens, don't go to the Bahamas. And so we benefit from our proximity. Come on, man, we got to be able to do better than this. There cannot be a fare that, oh, you can't negotiate with America. That cannot be the fare. We have to identify with no uncertainty about the qualities that we possess within our borders, about the talents that exist in this particular space. And we have to be able to present ourselves to the negotiation table with conviction and a very clear understanding that this is what we offer also. But I guess it's hard to do that because every other country around you that doubles, triples us in numbers or even more are yielding, genuflecting. And so, out the window goes the autonomy and the sovereignty. Back to this position of being able to cower for survival, cower for crumbs. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about these particular things. I picked up the Tribune today. I kind of slid through it. And I looked at it, and I can tell you what blew my mind. Let me tell you what blew my mind. I must see but 4 calls this morning. I couldn't believe it. It's blew my mind. All right. Right there in the Tribune, right there, the Christie family grieving another traffic fatality. So I say, this can't be the fellas who died, the 3 boys who died. Another traffic fatality? What? This can't be serious, right? So I read it. So it goes on to say, Philippa Christie, sister of the 3 Christie brothers who died in the car crash last September, is now facing unimaginable grief again after her eldest son, 18-year-old Jimmy J.J. Johnson, was killed in a traffic accident in Andros on Sunday night. Jimmy's death comes less than 1 year after Miss Christie lost her brothers, Philip Christie, Philip DiCaprio Christie, and D'Angelo Christie, in a crash on Sir Milo Butler Highway. This blew my mind. This absolutely blew my mind. Now, with the decency I have, as families continue to be able to grieve, I didn't call them. But I tried to get very close, and some people who knew them was able to, send some stuff to me. And so there was a discrepancy as to whether or not this story was accurate. So we got the obituary, and we identified that Philippa is one of the sisters of the 3 young men that died, whose father died. Their father passed away a couple years ago. I said, oh my God, this feels like it's of biblical proportions. This feels like eradication. This feels like an isolated look at something, and I hate to do this and have these conversations, especially with this sort of a fresh wound. But we're looking at this, and anytime we find ourselves going through tribulation, instead of being able to identify the external elements that lead to this problem, a lot of us have not really searched the inside. Can we talk like this today? Oh God. A lot of us, despite the fact that we go through issues, trial and tribulations, I could use me as an example. I find myself in this kind of a position where every season, there's a particular season of my life, I know that there's a transition coming. I could feel it, right? And I hit this wall, boom. No matter what I do, no matter the preparation, no matter how I set this up, no matter how I try to be able to design it, no matter, I hit a wall. And I said, this cannot be, because if I'm operating in principles, this should not happen. And far as I'm concerned, I'm operating in principles. Now, I don't know if something, I feel like Job friends who come there, maybe there's a sin that you still hold on to. Maybe that this is lasciviousness. Maybe this is whatever this is. Whatever this is, there is something that hinders me from getting beyond this proverbial glass wall. And I think that there's the same thing for most of us in this life. There is a wall that we hit, there come to, that we can't seem to get beyond. And I read this story, thinking to myself, there must be something that exists here. Maybe unspoken, maybe you don't know of, maybe it'll come through clarity, through fasting and prayer, you'll be able to get these particular answers. But there must be a wall or something that is obstructing us, some altar that was designed and set up to be able to see you fall. I'm not talking about the Christies, I'm talking about your life. And the only way that we can eradicate those altars, the only way that we can be able to set them down and be able to pull them down is with clarity and being able to dive deeper into ourselves. I want to talk to you all about this today. The altar of politics that we've set up in our lives with the expectation that transformation would come as a result of our commitment to one party or another, and that doesn't happen. The expectation that we can be able to find ourselves out of poverty because of our commitment, and this idea that man has said to us, keep working. You could find riches in being able to work your hands with labor. That has been a lie. There are so many persons that have gone on to the other side who have given up on trying to find success and yielded for this concept of contentment simply because they have not taken that second step, that next step to consecrate, to separate themselves, to find out what is that issue. It may not be your issue, may be something that traveled down the generations, that just because you were born, you are now exposed to. We got to talk like this today. We got to figure out as a nation, because I heard the caller yesterday, that spoke to the fact about being able to wake up as a nation and push past the idea of being able to look at the PLP and the FNM. It's traditionally just looking at the PLP and the FNM. We have to wake up beyond that. That's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. And I want to talk to you like this. I don't want to have this kind of a conversation because I don't know whether or not we've really thought beyond the traditional politicians and politics in our country. We have been enamored, hypnotized into a position of looking at the FNM and the PLP. We've been wrapped up, and we can do this in any aspect of our lives. We've been wrapped up in the idea that we have to go and get a job. We've been wrapped up in the idea that if I want to make more, I have to go get a degree. We have been wrapped up in the idea that for us to be able to progress, these steps based upon what has existed prior, we must take. And no one has found success in that. If they have, they are the exception. But for the most part, in our society, our position is the rule. The position of relentlessly working, of relentlessly committing ourselves. And then, just as we get retirement, many of us, unfortunately, based upon what we see in our society, get sick. We don't even have time to enjoy the times that we have for ourselves. There's so many people I found out that have died just as they were on the cusp of retirement or just after retirement from the government. All we know is to render our to render our labor, and there has not been reciprocity. Something got to be wrong with this. There's something got to be, this unseen used to be able to hamper us from getting to the objectives, the purpose that we've been called to in our life. There's something got to pull down this Jericho. There's something got to pull down this Berlin Wall. What is it? Are we so wrapped up with trying to find out what that is with our physical eyes and reject the idea of being able to just touch into spirituality, to look beyond and to step over? If you dare, I'd love you to get in that conversation with me today. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-425-9, anywhere for the Family of Islands, 242-300-5720. Hit me up, 422-4796. Quick break, guys. Going to be right back after this.
Foundation. Foundation.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Great news! Ron's Electric Motors' new location on Cowpen Road, right next to Island Luck, is open Saturdays and Sundays. So for those needing repairs on electric motors, generators, welding machines, water pumps, battery chargers, electric lifts, transformers, and power tools, Ron's Cowpen Road location can have you up and running on weekends. Don't forget, you can still visit Ron's Electric Motors on Wolf Road and Claridge Road, and now Ron's new location on Cowpen Road. Dial 356-0249 or 323-5267.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, The Foundation, live and in full effect on this beautiful Tuesday out here, being able to do all that we do. Like I said, make sure you pick up your Guardian newspaper. The information's in there from Grand Bahama. Government close to concluding the International Bazaar deal. And also, if you tear it open, it makes for an interesting read right there on the second page, right? It says, PLP says strong interest in Grand Bahama seats ahead of next election. So, guys, pick up your paper, read that, and just to be able to talk about that. Now, what we're talking about is this today. This, the passing of young JJ, because we didn't know. I saw the video of the young man jumping on the back of the motorbike, and, you know, they hauling tail in Andros. And the caption read that this was the last few minutes just before they, you know, succumbed to the speed or the recklessness that went to the accident. And I looked at this, and, you know, I didn't think anything of it. I said, wow, this is sad. But then I read the paper. I didn't connect it. You know, we see these things in society. I don't know about you, but we see these things in society, and I don't necessarily go and search out a name for it. I don't read the paper when I see a travesty and kind of search out a name and identify the individual through that particular perspective. I look at it and I say, wow, this is sad. Wow, right? And so the gist of the story I absorb, but I never take with it the specific name. That may just be me. And maybe you guys may have photographic memory. Maybe you got deep ties in the community and you need to know, oh, I may know a Johnson, this is my family. I don't know. I don't do that, right? But to read the story this morning, to show the connection to the three young men that just lost their life. One was 24, one was 23, one was 20, now this one's 18. That is crazy. That is mind-boggling. Boof, my head blew up. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Now, I'm not a superstitious guy to identify that there is something lurking over your family to be able to eradicate you. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. But I am the guy that acknowledges and identifies the fact that a lot of us have rejected that there exists another realm. I am. That's me. I may be weird to you. As you make pronouncements and I say, you shouldn't say things like that, right? And you say, there's nothing to it. There is no power in my words, without an understanding that you speak sometimes curses over your life. This is me. This is me. This is me. I've had enough conversations. I'll tell you a quick story. This young lady I knew, right? And not biblically. I know her, right? I don't know. People just come to me and have these kind of a conversation. I don't know why. Just come and just casually have a conversation with me, depending on the environment. So, she says, I am over my 30s. I've never been pregnant. So it sounds to me that she was trying to get pregnant at one point. So I said, okay. I didn't understand where this conversation was going, right? So she says, I don't know what happened. I tried to do this. I tried to drink this. I tried to go there. I went to this place. I went to that. I went to these doctors. I don't know if it's thyroids. I don't know if it's this. I don't know if it's that. I don't know what all these particular things is and all these things are that, right? So my mind, as she spoke to me, says, I wonder if she had an abortion and she was young. So I asked her. Yeah, she's telling me these things. I'm going to ask her. So she says, no. She's younger than I am, right? Do you want to get married? She said, yeah, I want to get married, right? So I said, but you don't have a husband or a boyfriend? And she didn't have a boyfriend. Okay, no problem. I ain't getting into business. I just asking questions. My mind is prompt to ask, and I can be like, my spirit is prompt to ask these particular questions. And then the next thing that prompted me, and I said to her, was there ever a point in your life that you didn't want children? And she thought about it and she says, I don't know, right? I said, was there ever a point, let's say you were a teenager. Did you ever make a pronouncement over your life? And she said, one time I said, oh Lord, I don't ever want to have no children and this and that and the next thing. And I said, well, you said this? Me and her talking. And I said, how old were you? Well, maybe we were like 16. That blew my mind. It blew my mind that, now I couldn't pronounce this to her. I tried to gradually nudge her in a direction to say that you need to kind of fix this over your life. Now, many of y'all people don't believe, well, how are you talking stupidness today? All right, that's enough. All right. Praise God. That's on you. All right. All right. But I said to her, I said, listen, you're going to have to find a way to be able to deal with this. It sounds like you get into the Obey man. You're getting everywhere. She laughed. I'm not getting an Obey man. I say, all these juice and nectars and all these things that you're drinking, this thing have no spiritual root or a clear understanding of why you're doing this. You're just doing this and hoping that you fix something, but you don't know that you've made a pronouncement over yourself, your life, your future, your womb. And now you need to be able to acknowledge that and go back and ask forgiveness, redemption, revival, restoration, realignment, so forth and so on. Me and her talking. I don't know if she did it. She ain't got no husband, and she ain't got no children. I don't know if she do it. There was another one I knew. I told you this story before. I met her, and she probably listens to me. I met her at the hotel. Young. And I said to her, hey, what's up, man? Just talking, right? And because I'm managing this particular space, I get my style. So I get friendly with everyone, and I don't like the kind of, how's the weather today? I don't talk like that. Hey, nice weather we're having. Those people, these small talk people. Hey, nice weather we're having. I don't do this, right? I say, hey, what's happening, man? What's going on with you? So who your last name is? Where your family from? Oh my God, y'all is this, boom, 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 boom. I get in your business quick. Bang, I get in your business right quick. I don't know why. That's just me. And if I see you got a fence up, I don't bother with you. I just don't. Because I share, I'm looking for you to share also. And so I sharing with her about my wife and my children and this and that and all these things like that. And she said, I said, Joe, you have any kids? She said, kids? How what I can do with any kids? You know, I can eat them, eh? That's what she says. So I said, what you mean? She said, I don't want no children. I never wanted no children. I said, hold on, wait. Come to find out she's the oldest sister. She have a bunch of siblings. She's been taking care of children all her life. All she know how to do is take care of children. Now, I come to find this out over the course of time. And then I said to her one day, it's important that you understand the position that we all hold in this life. That's what's wrapped in our DNA. I'm not talking about what's on the top of it. I'm not talking about the condition of society. I'm not talking about this kind of an idea that we exist in this kind. I ain't talking about. I'm talking about what's wrapped in our DNA. To be fruitful, to multiply, subdue, have dominion. I said, that's a demand. There is no real fulfillment in this life. Now, I'm not talking about those persons who cannot have. I'm not talking about those persons who have travailed and looking for. I'm talking about those persons who have rejected the idea of. Now, everyone can coexist in the same space. But if we, in this nation, that incrementally expands as a result, for the most part, as a result of what's happening and the people that come from the South, oh God, y'all didn't even talk to me but this. This incremental expansion from authentic, what y'all is called, authentic Bahamian people has reduced significantly because of a pronouncement and a desire to get what you see. You're looking at America, you're looking at the world, you're looking at all these particular spaces, and you believe that life and productivity should be yielded to the acquisition of things and not recognizing the importance. This is just me. I don't feel like, I don't want to speak like it's condescending to you. I want to talk to you. I don't want to speak down to you. Many a man and women have made pronouncements over themselves. Many a man and women have made pronouncements over their seed. Ignorant to it. They don't even know the stupidity but sliding out of their mouth, off their tongue, as it charges the atmosphere and take hold of whatever it says. You think you said casually, you see some things come to pass, you can't even believe it. So I said to her, I said, listen, man, take consideration for this. You are a lovely young lady. I'm sure, she had a boyfriend at the time. I said, I'm sure this man been with you X amount of years. She said, yeah. I said, I know he won't marry you, but because you have this wall set up, he wouldn't bother with you. And I say, I also know he wants kids. How would I do? I said, I'm telling you, man is stay with women like this for nothing. I'm telling you, this is a quiet desire, but because he loves you, he ain't gonna say this. It had to have been about 7 months later, she got engaged. And right after her engagement, she had her first child. I said, you have to introduce me to your husband. She said, Howard, why? I said, no, I think I said, just jokingly, I said, you should introduce me to your husband. And then introduce me as, honey, thank God for this man. He tell me get married, boom, boom, boom. So she laughed, I laughed, we laughing. But there is a way and a posture that we've taken in this life. On almost every sector of our society, every part of our life, that we've made pronouncements and left an altar and walked away and forgot that we had this thing there. No one, the thing erected and we walk away from it. No one has the consideration and understanding that to be able to demolish those things, we got to go back into a spiritual space. I say this, I'm triggered by what I'm reading in the papers. And I see this in almost every part of our lives. That we're in this position and we make declarations and we're ignorant to it because we're only focused on the acquisition of stuff and we forgot what the real reason for life is. And we look with disdain upon Haitians. Oh God, y'all don't want me to talk. You look with this disdain upon Haitians who only understand life, many of them, at a rudimentary level. Basic. Produce, provide, protect, pass away. Produce, provide, protect, pass away. That is basic. And for the most part, that is life. Be convoluted by conditioning of the enemy, of our enemy, the enemy of our souls. And none of us, I can't say that. I can't say none of us. Let's fix that. Many of us, which is the majority that exists in this country, maintain in that stupor. Many of us. How do we release ourselves from this hold, man? How do we? How do we? Is there even a desire to really release ourselves? Let's talk about this. When we find ourselves in this kind of a position, and we identify what's going on around us, right? Yeah. Because love is a serious thing, you know. Love is heavy. You know, you were content being loose like a goose the entire time until you fall in love with this woman. You just want to kiss her on her neck, behind her ears, and just bite her on the shoulder. You love her bad. You only want her. You even like how her breath smell in the morning. Oh God, you love the woman bad. Bad. But you have already made these pronouncements. And some things are irreversible unless you approach it. Quick break, guys. Going to be right back after this.
Foundation.
He is the king of crunch, the master of flavor, and he's going to set your taste buds on fire with the new King Crunch sandwiches at Burger King Nassau. Crispy fried onions, pepper jack cheese, and bold chipotle sauce. Plus, fixins cover a crispy chicken patty or 2 flame grilled beef patties on BK's new King Crunch sandwiches that are bigger, better, and bolder than anything around. And they're only available at Burger King Nassau. Try one today.
Living paycheck to paycheck, at Fidelity, we can help you take control of your money, build savings, and create a financial future you're proud of. And we'll do it free of charge. Transform your financial future with our coaching sessions today. Make that move. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
And we are back. Just before we go to break, guys, if you want to be able to call in, you could do so. Let me read a couple of these texts. This is, good afternoon, Howard. You are 100% on point. Our words and beliefs creates our future. I always remind people to be careful of what you are saying because the power of life and death is in your tongue. And I think that when we set it up like that, they are offended by the word of God. Yeah, they are offended. Yeah, because we have grown apart. Oh, y'all don't want to talk like this. I swear y'all. We have grown distant from the one thing that has been keeping us and preserving us the entire time. We have distanced ourselves via education, via quote-unquote illumination. Yeah. This kind of epiphany that you had after you separated yourself from your father's home, from your mother's home, from that kind of anchor that existed in this particular space, and you have travailed and traversed the world, and you would have gone afar off and experienced different entities, different religions, different this, different that. And for the most part, I can be honest with you, a lot of the priests that I speak to, I don't believe, not priests, a lot of the religious men that I speak to, I don't believe a lot of them are saved, who went off the theology school. Oh, God, y'all, Howard, why you? I just talked to them. There is a clear understanding through the lens of your theological approach, or the enlightenment that you would have gotten through theology, that, and this is only through conversations, that there seems to be many paths to righteousness. There are many paths to the kingdom of God. And they can justify that with you through the text. And this, of which the text was delivered to us in our youth, as we grew, we understood that there was only one way. But with the expansion of life, the expansion of concepts, the expansion of education, the seeking and the pursuing of these particular things, then all of a sudden, then you could find a different bunch of texts. There was one pastor I spoke to, but I didn't speak to him. He was preaching. And I was a part of the church at the time. This was some time back. And he said that adultery, he said fornication and adultery is two different things. This is what he preaching. He preaching on the stage, right? And I was so wrapped up in this thing now, right? So I'm telling you, I was so wrapped up in this thing. I said, well, what is this man saying? He said, adultery is the relentless pursuit outside of your wife with the same woman. That's what he said. I was absolutely confused. What you saying? He said, if you accidentally have relations with a woman that is not your wife, that is not adultery. But if you keep going back there, I said, this man got to be crazy. Jesus. You know, and listen, the church full of women. Hallelujah. Yeah. I said, these people don't even listen. One, because of your desire to be able to align your flesh with the pursuit that you have inside, and the word got to align with that, you'll accept any stupidity, any dumbness. You will accept that. You're going to wear that like a mantle, like a crown. Well, you know, my pastor say. And what I've realized is in our society, because of desire to be able to be right, to be justified in your position, you look for all sorts of concepts and ideas, and you forget your anchor. The anchor would keep your mother, that kept your grandmother, that kept your great-grandmother, that caused you to be here. All of a sudden, somebody gets some money to send you across to the States, and you come back, you leave Jesus there. I don't believe in God, Howard. I see all these things in my life, and I'm so, I don't believe in God. I mean, really, it's really not necessary. And so you exchange God, the omniscient, for education. And so the fear I have in delivering in this space and any public space is that I have to conform to your likings. Yeah, I got to use the language that's non-offensive to you, that you could be able to accept those things. Because I wouldn't dare offend you to say you talking garbage. And then now we in a deep debate. And we bring in with Jesus, black, he white, is he green or off pale, and what about revelation? I ain't got time for all these things, man. I only know relationship. And obviously, you don't have one. Yeah, we got to find ourselves back to a position of relationship in this country. We got to be able to find ourselves in the position of growth and development and be able to make these things. Somebody text me and say, Howard, did the station just go off? I don't know. So it's a good afternoon, Howard. At age 20, I pronounced that I wanted to have 10 children. Don't ask, I love children. I don't have one. That path is laid out for each of us, and we don't know God's plan. The trees looking nice and green, eh? Yeah, I hear what you say. I don't know if you hear what I say. I hear what you say. I don't know hear what I say. What I said is that this was not a desirous thing that this lady said when she was young. You know, she didn't say, "I want." This was a proclamation that she made over her life. I don't ever want. This wasn't a casual, I want. Let's talk about it. Guys, when we take this quick commercial break, get to news, and get back and be able to dive deeper into this conversation, if you would have me. I know they're saying politics. I know they're saying these particular things. And you may be indifferent with being able to travel with me, but I'd love you to do so. Quick break, guys. Going to be right back after this.
The foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, The Foundation, live and in full effect on this beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. I don't know, when I walked in, it wasn't raining. But if it is raining, it's still beautiful and gorgeous. The lands have been dried for a while. I could see that the color is returning back to the grass and whatnot and the trees. So I'm grateful for that. But it's a beautiful day, and I'm grateful to be in you guys' company. Royal Caribbean look like they just opened the booking for their new experience, their beach clubhouse experience. I think that this is what they have here. And so you can be able to do that. We should have them here in a couple of weeks to be able to dive deeper into this. But I'd love you to be able to jam with me. Someone says that we went offline. No? Are we online? Howard, you went offline just as you're about to talk about the difference between fornication and adultery. Hey, listen, I'm telling you what the bond say, I'm not telling you. Listen to me, y'all don't go try and use this. This man was inebriated in his mind. He was wrapped up in some, I don't know what he was into. But, that's why you got to study to show yourself approved. He sought to pontificate that fornication was not, fornication and adultery was different. If you were married and you happen to sleep with someone, this is what he's saying. This ain't me, and this is not my position. Once you don't make a habit of this, it's not adultery. And the Lord he's forgiving, ever forgiving. I thought it was ridiculous to be teaching people. I'm teaching young people, I don't know. But that's what I said, as people travel afar off in pursuit of education in a higher position, they also want their carnality, which is grown and expanded, right? Their desire for flesh, their taste for another woman or another man, I don't know, whatever you're into. right? Their taste and desire for flesh, for sin has become, like there is a selected taste. What do we call that? What do we say? There is a taste and a desire that people have for sin that continues to be able to expand. And there's no need for someone to be able to justify the sin that I made. I'll never come out of it. Never. Never. Howard, you ain't doing wrong. And then you put signs to it. Howard, you ain't doing wrong. If you sleep with a woman for 7 days, on the 8th day would have been the thing. But once you go 7, Jesus could. What are you talking about, sir? What are you talking about? Yeah, don't worry about that. Just a little for the stomach's sake. What do you mean, how much is it little? It's 40 youngs a little? Just a little. Listen. This perpetuation and desire to be able to find ourselves aligned with our carnality, aligned with our desires, is really rejecting the sovereignty and the holiness of a God we serve. Oh, man. Didn't know he was going to take this here like this today. Say lightning struck your station. No, this ain't what I want to say. This is not what I want to say. That's not what I want to say. I don't want to perpetuate his desires and ideas, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying to you that if you are naive and not pursuing information for yourself, or if you're so vulnerable and open when you find yourself traveling to different spaces, if you don't have a covering, a seal on you, if you don't stand steadfast in your conviction, if you don't know why you get saved or why you in this position, you go off and you leave Jesus right there. Then you say, well, Jesus there was never even no H, there was never even no J back in the day, Howard. This even makes sense. They never used to say that. From experience. See, many of y'all may not have this experience. From experience, when I call on the name Jesus, I am saved. From experience. Now, you could go there and get high and say, Yeshua, and all these. So I don't know what's going to happen to you, but I know what has happened to me. I can't even get no amen. Yeah, many of y'all may not have these kind of experiences, and this may be kind of taboo and weird to have a conversation in the public about these particular things, but we're not going to play stupid. We live in one island 21/7. Many of us, if not all, have experienced some kind of weird something. Many of us come from the family island where they get glass bottle in the tree. Many of us at the edge of some of y'all fingernails black, and not even from smoking. That's because you've put your hand to darkness. Many of people in this country are not unfamiliar with the dark sayings of things that happened and the times of old. Many. My father's father from Provo. And they scared to go to Grand Turk. They say, oh, now watch yourself when you get to Grand Turk. Many of us, I don't care how much education you've compiled, and you've ingested over the years, you have not forgotten your childhood where these things frighten you. Let's take a telephone call. Call on the line. Go ahead.
Hey, Howard.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, man?
Everything good, man.
I hear you drift off into Bones and Jesus' story and the belief and all of that. But within 14 months to 2 years, the entity I got all them scientists scared, man, that turn on Voyager camera, reconstruct Voyager with all the way out there in the Kuiper Belt, turn Voyager around, and it's now following Voyager back to Earth at a speed near light speed. We can find out just what number do within 2 years. We can know what is what in a minute. I just hope they don't eat meat. But listen,
What's up? You hope they don't eat meat? Okay, go ahead.
Man, I don't laugh, man.
I gotta laugh at you say hope they don't eat meat.
Oh, they vegetarian.
Well, if they eat, so he's still gone. Go ahead.
Listen, while we, the nation, should be eternally grateful for the seizure of that army, that cache of weapons. Howard, me being in the Air Force in 81, coming back, some of them weapons I see on that table, I can't wrap my head around them. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
But while we are eternally grateful as a nation, I still think the police force make us like little boo-boo because they got a tip, right? They allowed the weapons to come from where they were coming from or whatever have you. And they stopped the weapons in a vehicle with one person. Now, with these lawyers, the way they saw it, that person could have just been the driver of the courier truck. What I would have done if I was the police or the commissioner, I would have stayed back and watched to see exactly where like them cache weapons was going and who was involved. You really think that would have been better, Howard?
Well, I know that's what they do, and I appreciate the telephone call. I know that's what they do to the fella. They watch him how much years? They watch him. They said they was watching this and watching the layout from 2020, 2021, something like that, early. That they would have been able to identify these things, and then eventually, after they've identified the cell and everyone associated with the web, then they start to make these kind of pronouncements. I don't know. I don't know. There is so many conspiracy theories associated with, and I got to say conspiracy theory, 50 don't kill me, 52 don't kill me. But I got to be able to say conspiracy theories because anytime you see something, and all of us with our just basic mind of watching CSI Miami or whatever, you understand what I'm saying? Law and Order, right? Just basic, just rudimentary, basic stuff. Being able to identify these things. If this doesn't happen, something clicks in our mind. Wonder why they didn't do this, this, and this. Could it possibly be as a result of possible affiliation, possible relationship, possible? It's too much. And I don't like to travel down that path because so many people could stuff in this little small bucket. I don't like to travel down that path. I'd just like to be able to identify this and provide constructive criticism about the possibility of what they can do next. And so I'd like to be able to praise them for what they've done now and encourage them to continue on this particular course of rectification, identification, and eradication of these things out of our society. I'd like that. But then simultaneously say to them, there is a hope that this could expand. And stories like this encourages the populace. It encourages us that if the government is going, if our agencies are going to be able to really rectify this issue, now we could participate. We don't have to be afraid and call in Miami and all these things. Yeah. Now we could participate once we see that there are significant steps towards real, true, authentic, genuine eradication of these things out of our streets. But, when you add, these elements to the story about what could have been done, it places us in a position, especially with the record that exists, whether or not there is something afoot. And I don't want to think like that. I think just listening to Commissioner Shanta Roll in her particular capacity and being able to speak with such passion and this kind of determined posture, you want to believe that she is dead on with the eradication of these things. So let's support her. Let's support her. So I do appreciate your constructive view and analogy, but I do want to place more emphasis on the fact that I like what the Royal Bahamas Police Force, in conjunction with the Customs Department, has done to be able to take these things off the street. And I'd like to encourage them even further. And those persons who are tipsters in these areas that can provide information, I would encourage you to be able to get that there, and we could be able to rid ourselves of these guns and drugs in our society, right? Let's take a next telephone call. Caller, go ahead. Go ahead, caller. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Anywhere from the Family Violence 242-300-5720, or hit me up 422-4796 on the text. Go ahead, caller. Turn your radio down.
Hello?
Turn your radio down. What's happening?
Oh, my radio down. And anyhow, I was telling, hey, Howard.
What you say?
I appreciate GNN. He's a thinking mind, and so also you, right?
Mm-hmm.
As relates to this, the cash of weapons, right, which is very interesting, which is very rewarding if it's genuine. But when you look at what could have been done and what should have been done on the state of affairs within that entity, right? I'd like to congratulate them, but for me, if I opine what's in my mind, and it's a little too shady for me that all of these weapons. I don't know if the person works for a courier company who's caught this. It's a technicality that nothing really can come out of this. So I'm looking at it as just a psyops operation. I hate to say that, but saying elections is here and they're fighting crime, whatever they're doing, because it's too dubious. There's nothing fruitful about it. No one is being caught. It's the most amount of corn I've seen in a while. You know what I mean by corn, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, congratulate them, but let's hope it's genuine. And like I say, the thing is, sometimes you need to clean out your own yard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of things are hidden and suppressed, and you're looking at decades of just injustices. I mean, Howard, the citizens and the way this country is running, Howard, it's really pathetic. It's pathetic. Let's look at the situation with Donald Trump now. Let's look at the deportation. And Donald Trump is doing what a lot of Americans want, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yet still it's a problem. But we haven't had the national security minister coming to talk to Bahamian people about the repercussions of this mass deportation. We see inflammatory, derogatory, contemptuous, infuriating posts by Haitians, et cetera, spreading a false narrative that we hate them or we don't like them. You see how ungrateful these people are, Howard? You see how they're repaying the Bahamian people by creating the schism, Howard? Mm-hmm. Where did this narrative come from, Mr. Grant?
Mm-hmm.
Howard,
I don't know.
Where did this narrative come from?
I don't know. I know they perpetuate it. I know.
Yeah, but we hate no one.
No.
So we have them here in great numbers, and now their true colors are coming out. I see this guy, Shanique Millard, on the radio the other day. I had a conversation with him. He seems normal, but I heard the narrative. So he was mitigating his post that he put out on Shanique's show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying he was responding to the reporter, but what I'm saying is his words speak to his psyche.
Mm.
So he said that one thing I said was incorrect because I'm 60. I'm sure I'm older than him. He only has a big belly, but I'm saying is I'm sure I'm older than him because he said that we were bullying them and his parents in the older generation, this the new generation, they later. But I'm 60. I didn't know we bully no Haitian. I grew up with them. We work together. I mean, I'm telling you, I don't know us to be bullying no Haitians. You see what I'm saying, Howard?
Yeah.
So why? And we haven't heard from Luby. We haven't heard from the PM because we heard that they when Lincoln put the guy on or Paris Island, they asked Lincoln. Lincoln asked him a question and they say, ask Brave. And then we see where Haitian Americans with Bahamian background, allegedly if they ain't buy their passport or whatever, or citizenship come back to haunt us, saying that PLP is the way to go, and we have this guy from Abaco. And the message before the BMB was very clear. This poses a present danger to us, but there's a re-Bahamianization. And thanks, play the solo song. You all better big up Solo. You know the poet Solo? You didn't see the post Solo, but are
Mm-hmm. No, I see it. Which one?
Yeah, but I can big up Solo. I don't know if you know me. Give thanks for Solo. But what I'm saying is, Howard, we in a rock between a hard place. This is what we get for showing these people love, And what I'm saying is nobody's trying to mitigate this BS. You understand me? You want to subjugate the land that the people that did well for you, but then you turn around your place where you come from, you would rather die before you go back there. Make it make sense to me, Mr. Grant. Wow. So what I'm saying is, they haven't addressed the repercussions of the potentiality of the numerology as it relates to this matter and the Bahamian people and our sovereignty. So what I'm saying is, and then when you speak out, the xenophobic knob is played out now, Mr. Grant. You understand me? As a matter of fact, we love them too much. But the question then becomes do they love us as much as they love themselves? Because we see what they do. But we're sitting blindly, an ostrich pokes his head in the sand, and he looks up and he sees 1,000 migrants, and then he pokes his head back down, and then he sees 10,000, and he continues to be gaslighted as if we don't have a problem. You see, you're saying, Mr. Grant?
Wow.
But we must speak of Solo. I thought Solo depicted the real situation.
I can listen to that.
In his poem.
Send it to me. I know you got it. Send it to me.
But Howard, this is a frightening situation. What I'm saying is, Howard, am I wrong for asking why? All right, if the PM of Haitian migrants boldly talking about their voting bloc power, which is nothing wrong with that, and he's not addressing the potentiality for the detention that they are. I don't see no Bahamian putting no post out against them. But what I'm saying is, you have this guy in the States making this post. So if that was Donald Trump and I did that, well, how could he be allowed to come here, Howard? Why should he be allowed to come here if he's making these type of statements? Why? Tell me why. Why?
He shouldn't.
We want these type of people to come here to say, well, man, Howard, man, give me a break, please. We have children. Listen to me. Anyhow, this is decades and decades. The punch being wanting me and you for decades.
Yeah.
And this is all administrators have failed to be human people. All.
Let's talk about it. I appreciate your telephone call. I won't talk about this kind of repatriation discussion that you want to be able to have more specifically. It seems as though, subtly, that you expect our Minister of Foreign Affairs to be able to come out and take on this kind of position to talk about the repercussions of what's happening as a result of what's happening out of the United States of America. I don't believe that is what the government's responsibility is. Now, all of us could see some things socially. Our island is small. 300,000 people live in Nassau. 100,000 people are scattered throughout the country outside of Nassau. There's 400,000 of us here. Our communities are small, and we understand the rhythm and the tradition and the culture that we have in these spaces. So let's just be very clear. The government's responsibility is to be able to maintain calm. Now, look at that through the lens of the government has lied to us, or they've withheld from us, or they've deceived us, right? But the government's responsibility is to identify these particular issues and rectify it through through the agencies that they have to be able to mitigate against this. I don't expect Fred Mitchell to come out and say there will be repercussions to the relentless repatriation and the Haitians who are in the United States of America who've been identified in one space or another saying that they are Americans, I'm saying that they're Bahamians, and being able to be sent back to the Bahamas, repatriated to the Bahamas. There will be issues. There will also be issues from the relentless conversations that we're having and persons being able to call me day in and day out to talk about the planes that are always coming from Haiti and going back with nothing, right? So it seems as though they're dumping them off here in this kind of a space. And Bahamians are paying very close attention to this. And so I just want to be able to say this to you and just take it back to the top of our conversation. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. At the top of our conversation. Haitians have an objective. Those that seek liberty and freedom, just like the Cubans, just like the Dominicans, just like the Venezuelans, just like the Jamaicans, just like anyone else who seeks to be able to find this education that America has put at the pinnacle, at the top, and say the acquisition of this education would be able to liberate you from the slavery, the enslavement, the impoverishment that you have lived your entire life. If you get this education, you can be better off in life. Africans coming for this education. Chinese have been coming for this education. That's why they stop off Harvard. Everyone has been pursuing this acquisition of education to find themselves in a better position. And that hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. I want to just be very clear with you. I want to get back. This pursuit that Haitians are having to acquire something, it moves them away from Haiti, and the land of the free, the home of the brave is where they want to go. If they can't make it there, they come to the land of milk and honey and conch salad, which is the Bahamas. When they get here, they set up an anchor spiritually and physically, so they will not be removed. None of us will have that conversation. An anchor and an altar exist here in many spaces for generations for these people who want to leave to find a better way of life. But y'all don't want to talk like this. How do we uproot that? How do we fix that? Let's talk about it. Quick break. Going to be right back after this.
The Foundation with Howard Grant. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation.
Great Commissions Ministries is God's storehouse. They have been caring for the poor, homeless, and hurting since 1987. You are invited to support their Stop and Drop program by dropping off some food items in their barrels and some cash in their bottles. You can donate an offering each month or pay your tithes online to Great Commissions through the Givelify or SunCash apps. Help them to shelter the homeless, feed the hungry, and spread the gospel of Christ. Volunteer your service and support the Live to Give program. Call Great Commission Ministries, God's Storehouse at 325-5801 for further information or stop by the office on Wolf Road. Be blessed.
At Cleveland Clinic, care is everything. So when your primary purpose is to care for the world, you'd start with your community until you're accessible anywhere. You make complexities your specialties and put compassion before anything else, all to redefine what's possible. For everyone, everywhere. For every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic.
The NOLA Box is back at Popeyes and bigger than ever. This year, Popeyes and Coca-Cola is teaming up to give one lucky winner $5,000. Box for just $13.95 from any Popeyes location and enter online for a chance to win cold hard cash. So satisfy your cravings and your wallet this summer with Popeyes. Rules and restrictions apply.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Abaco, get ready for the summer's official rum and beer link call. Royalty Sounds present Found Facts. Found Facts. Saturday, July 5th, Morris Harbor, Abaco at the Royal Recreational Ground. Gates open 5 p.m., $20 entry. Ladies free before 8 p.m. with Nassau and Abaco's hottest DJ. Don't miss the beer drinkers versus rum drinkers competition.
Right, pulling for the best side, Isaac
Damn rum for me. Found Facts, July 5th, Abaco. Sponsored by Collect, the beer of the Bahamas. Drink responsibly.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation.
And we are back. Hey, let me tell you something. I just gotta be straight up with you. I don't know how to pretend that something exists or something doesn't exist. I don't know how to do that. I have experienced wholeheartedly, I have immersed myself in Bahamian culture. It started for me in 8 Mile Rock. My appreciation for the people around me, family, friends, schoolmates, the whole thing, right? My appreciation for that, my appreciation for the environment, my observation and being able to see the disdain and the dislike that persons have. It didn't just start with Haitians. It started with my father's people, Turks and Caicos people, right? It started about. But if we were to go back even further, it really started with us. There's sort of an idea that we were brought here, the ratio almost 9 and 10 to 1. So one white person initially coming to the country had 9 persons. This was pre-plantation. This was during the plantation time, the colonial time. And for the responsibility for those persons who came here, and they would have left or, settled, but we continue to be able to expand in those areas. And if we look at it, let's just shoot straight, man. Let's shoot straight and be able to hit this thing. Every single person, now not to the detriment of the Bahamas and not to the detriment of who we are as a people, but the fact of the matter is if you look at Israel right now, if you look at Iraq, if you look at Iran, Iraq, and look at these particular places that are on the verge of war, if you look at the Gaza Strip and what was happening in those areas and how people had to evacuate, if you look at wars and the tribulation that people endure in these particular spaces and how they want to get out so bad, oh my God, they want to leave. Some humanity in us could be able to understand what's happening in Haiti. Yeah, the slither of humanity that exists in you somewhere, I don't know. maybe under your foot. I don't know. If you connect with that, you could understand this desire for a human being to want to get from a tumultuous space. Now, if we look back at this and we look at the whole thing, this is not me justifying that Haitians should find itself here and we accommodate them. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is that as a human being, you will run. Now, the core objective is for them to be able to get to the United States of America. And they can't reach America, many of them. And even now, after they would have gotten to America, we already know Trump's position with Haitians. In fact, how he views the entire Caribbean. He has already called us in the former administration, this is the last time he was in, this S-hole country. Not us, Haiti. These S-hole countries, mess-hole, S-hole countries, is what he said. I don't think a man his age moves away from his conviction and his belief. These are the building blocks of his conviction. These are the building blocks of his life. This is who he is. I don't think he moved away from that. Now, as he comes again, I don't know what your expectations were. They ban Haitians entirely from being able to enter the United States of America. You're banned. You're banned. If they can't get to America, where are they going to go? There's still turmoil that exists in Haiti. I expected our government to come simultaneously with a counter to be able to identify that, but our government has placed sovereignty on the back burner and not addressed this with the articulation and the insight that they have. They have rejected the idea of being able to take these potential people from ISIS and potential criminals and war criminals and all these things like that and hardened criminals out of the United States of America. They've rejected that. El Salvador has taken them. Okay. Now Trump has banned Venezuela and Haiti, more specifically in our region. Let's identify that, and Cuba. Let's identify that. Where are these people going to go now? What is the closest to America? The lifestyle, the liberty, the consumption, the environment, all these things. What's the closest that we have in this region to America? I dare say the Bahamas. If our government hasn't come with a counter to ensure that we could safeguard our borders, to identify these things, we're going to have a perpetuation and an exorbitant amount of Haitians, and not only Haitians, Venezuelans, come not just visit, but stay here in the Bahamas. We're too casual about it. We're too casual about this kind of a conversation to just mention Haitians. Behind our keyboards, behind the microphone, behind these particular spaces, 6 people go to protest on the back on Cowpen Road to be able to identify these things. You even outnumbered in your protests. And this has not been a major issue for no political organization. You all keep voting FNM and PLP. One, when the Haitians indicated, and Hubert Ingram has come with the Free National Movement indicating that there has been an entire Haitian bloc. Remember this? You forget to say. There's a Haitian bloc they were looking for. Deliberately, specifically identifying these particular persons to be able to go and do that. I don't think this was a pronouncement from him, but this is the design that would happen. Yeah. FNM for Rasta. And they sectors of our society, and how you can leave the Haitians out. So what if you didn't pronounce it? We knew what you was doing. Nobody said nothing then. With the circulation of Brave Davis being able to go around and say, I don't see y'all as Haitians. I don't call y'all Haitians. Y'all are Bahamians. Yeah, and you know that and still rally behind this and don't require our government or the next government coming in to have an articulated, executable plan. And it's got to be eradicated. It got to be eradicated. It cannot be to mitigate. It cannot be to be able to subjugate or put them aside. It have to be the eradication of this illegal migrant issue. But you ain't dealing with that. You ain't dealing with that. because you scared of their altars. You scared. They come here and they set up an altar and they go to whatever deity or whatever. I can't say all of them, but this is the principle of what's happening. And then that's the spiritual realm. And then physically, they look for somebody to get them pregnant and have an anchor baby here. This is what's happening in our society. And nobody will touch this. Nobody will talk about this. And the persons who may feel this hard may be the love child or the child of necessity from a relationship that existed in this particular space. Oh man, this is hard to have. But you will continue to have this because you ain't expect, or you don't even require nothing from your leadership. You letting them sit down and run on with that. All you do is segregate your political organization, okay? The Haitians over there, yeah, you put them over there. Yeah. You ain't dealing with this. No one dealing with this. Call on the line, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Howard.
Hi.
You basically, I would say, by inspiration, took a lot of the words out of my mouth. So all I'm left to say now is to check you, but you have a forum, and you have the guts to call it what it is. So survey the people. Survey the people. Ask them a simple question. You all agree with these flights from Haiti every Tuesday and Saturday? All they have to say is yes or no. The Bahamians got to start now choosing their own fate. That's one area that we know is not right. It's not right. How could you be sending Bahamas airplanes twice weekly to a country that's under siege? I'm not saying we ought not to be merciful or mindful of their plight. But like our plight is speedily coming to a close in judgment, theirs is already showing they're in the midst of it. They helped to make their nation whether they were act the way that it is now. So they have to choose what they're going to do about their nation. Yeah, some want to run. I get that. If you're in chaos, of course, you want to run. And of course, you're hoping that other human beings would want to help you.
You're getting heavy, you know.
But I got to get heavy to start dealing.
You're getting heavy. You say some want to run. I didn't hear but 5 names.
Look.
5 strategic, specific names that seek nomination and they're seeking opportunity in our country. Now listen, I can't fight these people, man.
Look, you go on the next route.
Go ahead.
Praise God, you go on
you
here.
say
you on track.
Okay,
you
go
on
ahead.
track.
I fight you.
Because our so-called leaders are thinking they planting the seed that can keep them in power. Make Bahamians. So you can have more of them to vote for you, loyal to vote for you. Let me tell you, when they can get in their head that if you make them and they're not, then eventually they're going to see a pathway where they're going to make themselves leaders in this land because you're busy making them a part of us. But it ain't a simulation like when the body digests and the food becomes a part of the body. No, they adding in. That ain't the same thing. And we see it in the same thing because they even ain't speaking our language. Hello. But then the world is this. Only Jesus knows.
My God.
And I hope Bahamians would get more active in our choice before it's too late, and Jesus got to step in.
My God.
But I just start getting, people hate when I start hearing judgment or saying judgment. So let me get back to the practicality of what we need to do. The practicality is you got to see enough to say we need to start talking. We need to start choosing. Bahamians, you all need to identify yourself as sheep or goat, righteous or unrighteous. Plenty church around here, them buildings that you all go to every Sunday and justify yourself as thinking you're all on the way to glory. But you ain't acting like it. How could a righteous people insert government or leaders that ain't acting righteous? Continuously. How that has happened?
Heavy.
That's like the words say, what place is righteousness with unrighteousness? I do not know. Maybe they can answer for me. But me do a petition and say, just simple. Just say, you all want them flight every Tuesday and Saturday going to Haiti. If not, we need to.
I got to find out more information about that because we spoke about that. We spoke about that. Go ahead.
They need to stop. That's number one. Because then, why are you sending them there and they're touristically bound? That means we got so much to translate or transit over there, or is so much coming over here? I do not know. But how much, in link with that question, I said again, how much you think 121 by 7 could hold? Because this way already 80 to 85 of the population of the Bahamas is. This is by definition of how they keep setting things up on this little 21 by 7. This by definition is the Bahamas. Because they ain't trying to do nothing much with the other islands. And the people who come in here, they know that. They try jam up in here. The same little 21 by 7. How much you think can fit on here? I asking the leaders, Howard. I ain't asking you. But you know what I'm saying. And all of y'all who listen, come on, man. We can sink under the weight of the populace on here in the same little one place. What they don't want to start building up on, knocking down this, digging up that, and try. This place must be like Swiss cheese. One little piece of rain hit us 10 minutes, 10 moderate rain, 10 minutes, and this place ready to sink. And they still doing things with it. Y'all don't know. Let me tell you all leaders. Building capacity and living capacity has long been reached on this little 21 by 7. Just so y'all know. But, I mean, y'all could do all your little survey and everything. That's right from the Spirit, from the throne. But praise Jesus. If y'all want to hear that, those who have ears to hear, let them hear.
I appreciate it.
Or
Thank you
else
so much.
maybe you'll think. But let me say something else.
I get a break. I gotta go to break.
Well, I could wait. I could wait.
Okay, hold on then. Hold on a second. All right, let's go. Let me take a quick commercial break, guys. We'll be right back after this.
The Foundation with Howard Grant. We'll be back right after this.
The Foundation.
You try to rest, but roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and zines and flyers, for window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it, just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
It's time to upgrade the way you enjoy at-home entertainment. Alive Fiber is here. Enjoy all your favorite channels and streaming apps, all at lightning-fast internet speeds with affordable bundles, and it's only a click away. Visit www.alivefiber.com to sign up now. Stay connected, live your life. It's good to be alive.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. I see the lines are lit right up. Okay, I can let her finish. I can let you finish. You get 30 seconds. Go ahead. You could be able to wrap it up. Go ahead.
I appreciate you,
No
Howard.
problem.
Thank you so much. May God continue to bless you in your position there, and wherever He sends you. Okay, so I'm saying the next thing that is heavy on me is that seeing as how present leadership or other past leaderships, that's at least about 3 to 4 terms of them. But in a particular now, they're wondering if we're going to have, when we have the general election, how well accountable is that going to be? And so, especially with all of these question marks about citizenry and participation in our election. So I throw this out as a challenge to this government and the opposition, who seems to be silent on this, that we need independent observers to monitor our upcoming general election so that all Bahamians would feel like their vote is going to be counted and whomever they vote would come into office righteously, in the right way.
Okay.
And that's a plea, not just from me, that's a heavenly plea. We need independent, righteous-minded representatives in our house.
Okay,
We've
so
seen the result of what is happening now.
tomorrow, God spare our life, because you said this, and I got to let you go. I thank you so much for your telephone call. Right?
Thank you.
Tomorrow, because you said this, we're going to have a conversation about the independent observers that comes in and that are often here, and how that interaction exists in these particular spaces, and then get to the clarity of what this really means, whether or not this is just from a token standpoint or whether or not they're empowered to a position to make this determination. So we can talk about that. Let's see if we can take the next telephone call. Caller on the line, go ahead.
Hey, Howard.
Hey.
I want to make a statement to follow up on your show yesterday.
Go ahead.
Mr. Pintard, in all his wisdom, made a blunder in letting go a sure seat in Kalani. He should have allowed that man to run and win that seat because he's going to need it. All right? Because here you are now having Mr. Davis reverberating all the way down south that I am you and you are me. And you have them, when you catch them, they asking for him. You catch them. You didn't hear the 31 crew that they caught. One of them was asking for Mr. Davis. Listen to this. You didn't know that. The word circulating now in Haiti is that Mr. Davis is our prime minister. Now, what this juvenile leader of the FNM needs to now do?
Juvenile leader.
He needs to go and get the real PLPs and let them know exactly what we are faced with. We are faced with approximately 200,000 individuals coming from Florida in September. And God knows if they come here, they're going to vote PLP if they could. So Mr. Pintard now needs to campaign and reach PLPs who want to save this country and let them know this time around you can't vote for these buffoons because they quiet on the issue because to smother us with them.
I appreciate
That's what's going on.
I appreciate the telephone call, my brother. Thank you so very kindly. You said, I really don't like this kind of a name calling thing. I don't like it. I don't want nobody calling me. I tell you, but did I ever tell you that this guy out of 8 Mile Rock called me fat boy? Right? This dude, like 2 times bigger my size. We was on the Kentucky line, and he standing up in the back of me. Now I just lost a couple pounds, right? That's why I was in Kentucky on the Mayo Clinic diet, just eating a 2-piece of meat, and I got some salad in the car. And so I stand up on the line, and my confidence getting all pumped up. Yeah, looking good now. Yeah, the belly can now. Praise God. Woo, 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 woo. All I hear in the back of me, fat boy. That's why I refuse to even turn back. Fat boy. So I look back, and this gentleman from 8 Mile Rock that we know, who happens to be, fond of the substance, the white powder, right? This is what we know of him, right? And also, he's jumped through windows. Let's be decent. 8 Mile Rock people know who I mean, right? He bigger than me. So, fat boy. So I said, listen to me. You know my name? He said, yes. I said, I know you all my life. I called him his name. I say, you know you all my life. You ever hear me call you, hey, crackhead, what's going on with you? Hey, what's going on, cokehead? What's going on, thief? I said, you ever hear me call you anything outside of your name, what your mother give you? I said, don't you ever in your life call me fat boy. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were sensitive like that. I'm very sensitive, okay? Very sensitive. I don't like this name calling thing. I just want to say that to you guys. This is kind of a juvenile, Lil Phil, he ain't brave, all these things that need to stop. Okay, let's mature our political electorate and electorate, right? The leaders are responsible for that. I just got to let you know this. This is unnecessary. You don't have to be able to jab at a man. I told you this before. The fella getting caught up with the girl got eyes for me, and he can say, "Oh, don't do that, him, that you won't talk bad but me." But the girl already didn't like me. She didn't make up in her mind. She won't rub the big man. Talk to me. But you mad because you don't have a counter for that. You got to get your game together, baby. You don't get to call people by their name. Get your game together. Tomorrow we can continue this conversation about altars and about anchors. And then we're going to be able to talk about the independent observer concepts and ideas associated with that. We're going to go deeper into the possibility of being able to see the surveys and being able to do that. And then we're going to dive deeper into the repatriation concepts and whatnot. Let's see if we can be able to do that. I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate this concept, this conversation, and allowing me to, to share like this. Yeah, I don't do this when people with me because, I just don't do it. But I can have this kind of a conversation. So I'm grateful to you for allowing us to do that, and we didn't have to be bogged down with a specific political conversation. But with the politics of the country, we need to be able to talk about that. Let's see if we can continue that tomorrow, right here on The Foundation, Godspirit.
Foundation.